Hi guys, welcome back to Miss Moore's Monday Math Challenge. I'm here to motivate you to continue to learn from home. Now, why is learning from home so important right now? Well, the end goal is to be prepared for third grade, right? And there's going to be many ways that you can do that. One is by reading every single day. It's so important that you guys continue to read at home. If you're not sure exactly what you should be reading or what process you should be taking, contact your reading teacher. They'll help you. They'll guide you through and they'll tell you which exact books you should be reading or what questions you can be answering. But most importantly, read. The more you read, the better you become, right? Okay, for math, the way we're going to prepare you for third grade in math is by continuing to do the minimum of 4 Zern lessons at home every single week. Okay, Zern is something you were doing at school. It's something you can continue to do at home. It follows the exact curriculum we were doing, and it's only going to help you, right? Minimum of 4 a week. Now, I chose to put in these story problem challenges every week. And the reason why I chose that were many reasons as well. One is, as part of our curriculum, we would do a application problem or a story problem or a word problem of the day, whatever your teacher chose to call it, really. But we would do that every single day. And the reason why I'm choosing 2-step story problems is because that's huge for second graders to master before getting to third grade. So that's a little bit why I'm doing my math challenges, and I chose them to be story problems, or 2-step story problems in particular. Another reason why I chose to do these is because I feel like since it is something that we were doing in class, these story problem of the days, that it gives us that bond that we built and we worked so hard for before you guys had to leave. Now, the reason why I chose Mondays is because Mondays are hard, right? Mondays were hard when you guys were at school with us. So I know that Mondays are going to be tough getting yourself motivated at home, right? So that's why I'm here, to motivate you guys, to keep you guys learning with our Monday math challenges. Now, this Monday's even harder because you were off for an entire week for Easter break or spring break. And so I decided for this Monday math challenge, the way I'm going to motivate you is I'm going to start you off with a little story. And this is a true story that really happened. And I'm going to call this story the Math Curse Easter Edition. Now, I know y'all are used to the Math Curse. It's a book that we read every year, or I read every year to my kids. My kids are very familiar with it, and I know a lot of other teachers read the Math Curse, and it's about this little girl, and everywhere she goes, she starts seeing math, because her math teacher told her that math is everywhere, right? And so she starts going here, she sees math. She's doing art, she sees math. She's playing outside, she sees math. She's cursed with math following her everywhere. We had a real live math curse happen over Easter. Let me tell you how it happened. So it all starts with every year we have something we call an egg pocking tournament with my family. Egg knocking, egg pocking, something we do in Louisiana. And you take your 2 Easter eggs and you gotta knock one, and whoever has the finished egg that's not broken is the winner, right? Well, we get into it in our family and we get serious and we have championship rounds and all this kind of stuff. Well, last year, Molli won the grand champion. And she did not let me forget it. She talked about it all year. Oh, I was the egg pocking champion. I was the egg pocking champion. Well, whenever we started to get ready for it this year, I said, you know, the odds are that you are not going to be the egg pocking champion again for 2 years in a row. And she's like, Mama, I'm going to win. And I was like, thinking, you know, I'm always thinking math over here. And I was like, the odds are against you. There's a 1 in 4 chance. Now Ruby's playing this year too. There's a 1 in 4 chance that you could win, but there's a 3 out of 4 chance that you're not going to win. So I'm doing math in my head, right? And I started saying some of this stuff. And she's like, Mom, math is not everywhere, okay? And I was like, yes, it is. So I tell her a little bit about our math curse book. And she's like, Mom, math is not in Easter. I said, all right. I'm going to show you math is in Easter. But let's get back to our egg pocking tournament, right? So first things first, we started with a whole bunch of eggs, okay? Here's my whole bunch of little eggs, okay? Boom, 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 boom. And of course they were dyed, and we did them all. Bunch of eggs, okay? And what I did, kind of down here. What I did was I put them all in this bucket, right? Yeah. So, and in the bucket, and then we all sat around the table, and we were like, okay, we gotta pick our eggs. We gotta pick. Hopefully, I'm gonna pick the winning egg because I'm tired of hearing Molly saying she won. She's the grand champion. So we each got a plate, right? And there's myself, Mr. Joey, Molly, and Ruby. So we each got a plate. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? And so then we started going around in a circle, letting the youngest pick first. So Ruby got to pick, then Molly got to pick. They'd each get to pick an egg. And so 1 egg for you, 1 egg for you, 1 egg for you, 1 egg for you. Because it had to be equal, okay? It had to be even. Everybody had to have the same amount. And then it kept going. 1 for you, 1 for you, 1 for you, 1 for you. And they're all on these plates, and these eggs are kind of rolling around, acting all crazy. 1 for you, 1 for you, 1 for you, 1 for you. And it kept going until there was absolutely no more eggs to pick from, okay? So we split up our eggs equally. And it so happened that there was 4 of us, so there was 4 groups of 6. Okay? Well, you know, Molly likes to say she's the winner. I want to win this year. And then you got Mr. Joey and Ruby over there. They don't even care, right? Well, I'm looking at this. I'm like, my eggs are on this plate. Have you ever put an egg in a plate? Kind of rolls around, and I'm scared it's going to fall on the floor and crack before I even get to start knocking them, right? So I start looking around. I'm like, I'm going to put this in the old egg carton that it came in. And Molly's thinking the same thing because she's like me. She's like, she wants to win. She don't want nobody taking her title, right? So what we did was we took ours and we put it in egg cartons. Mr. Joe and Ruby, they didn't care. They're like, I don't care. Just keep it on plate. Well, me and Molly, we going to win, right? So once we started doing this, I started seeing something. I'm like, let me take a picture of this, right? And so I really did. I stopped and I took a picture. And so here's Molly's group and here's my group, all pretty. I'm going to stick it. Where can I stick it? This angle's kind of crazy. And so here are ours. So I'm just going to focus in on me and Molly's because Mr. Joey and Ruby, they didn't care as much as me and Molly cared, right? So I'm just going to look at these 2 groups, right? And so whenever I look at these 2 groups, I see 2 groups of what? 6. So this is 2 groups of 6. All right, those were our eggs we picked. That's what we had to use to pop each other with, right? All right, so we had 2 equal groups of 6, okay? So then we started looking at them, and because you know I like things organized and nice and neat, and Molly's just like me. I don't know where she gets it from. And she started saying, she's like, you know, Mama, we could organize this even better. We could make it even neater. Instead of just 2 random groups, we could organize this in a different way. So then what she does is she takes hers and she takes mine and she puts them on top of each other like this. You see it? See it? She put this one on top of the other one. And I was like, very interesting. Because, you know, I'm thinking math. And she's over here thinking Easter has nothing to do with math, right? So she sits here and she's like, look, Mama, this is a lot more organized and a lot more nice and neat. And then she says, look, there are 2 rows. And I was like, oh, 2 rows? Okay, so then I start thinking of our math words that we talked about. And rows go horizontal, and then columns go this way. And I said, no, baby, there's actually 2 columns. 1 column, 2 columns. 2 columns of what? 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So in here, we had 2 columns of 6, right? So So here were my 2 columns of 6. And I was like, you're right, Molly. That is so nice and neat. Well, then she goes, or, I could flip them. And then she flipped them and she turned them this way. And she said, and then, now, Mama, look. We have 2 columns of 6 still. I don't know if y'all can see that because the light's kind of flashing on it funny. She turned in and she said, this is still 2 columns of 6. And I was like, Remember, rows go this way, columns go up and down. So I said, you don't have 2 columns here. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns here. And there's 2 in each column. Or you could call it by rows. You have 1 row, still that light's kind of funny, or 2 rows, right? So here we had 2 rows of 6, okay? And then I was like, whoa. You're getting your columns and your rows all mixed up. Let's stop and talk about this vocabulary. I didn't tell her math yet because she's all, there's no math in Easter, right? So I walked around the house and we have a column in our house. Some people might have columns in front of their houses. We actually have one in our house. It's a wooden pole, it's over here, that goes up and down. And we walked over to it and I said, Molly, what is this called? I took a picture of it for you guys. And she's like, that's our column. I said, that's your what? And she said, oh, that's our column. I said, yeah. And what way does a column go? Up and down. It goes that vertical way, right? So if you're looking at a group going this way, that is a column. If you're looking at it going this way, that is a row. All right? And so then she was like, oh, I'm starting to understand the difference between columns and rows. She was like, well, where do you see rows? And I was like, well, columns are everywhere in our life. There's rows as well. So we started thinking and we started looking, and I bring up our bookshelf that's in the back and how the bookshelves, all the books are organized into these rows that go side to side, okay? And then we even talked about, y'all recognize these things? Remember the Veterans Day program when we pulled out those bleachers and the people sat on? For Molly, it was her kindergarten program. And people sat in rows. So now she started being like, oh, okay, I'm starting to understand better. Columns go this way. That light is driving me bananas, but there's no way I can get rid of it. Sorry, guys. So columns and rows. So she started getting better idea of what the words were to use them correctly, right? So then we were like, okay, so Molly, what you just did, you made 2 columns of 6, or you made 2 rows of 6. I said, is there any other way to move these around, these 2 equal groups of 6, into another arrangement that is nice and neat, like Miss Moore or Mama likes, right? So then she was like, she started playing with them a little bit, and she came up with this one, which I really liked. And I said, oh, yes. And she said, Mom, let me make sure I get the words right. There are 1, 2, 3 rows of 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 3 rows of 4 in this one. And I was like, yeah, now you getting it. Now you seeing it. And I said, but what if we turned it, was like this, right? So what if I turned it this way? Would it still be 3 rows of 4? She said, oh, wait a second. No, that's 3 columns of 4. Or you could say 1 row, 2 rows, 3 rows, 4 rows of 3. There's a lot of different ways you can organize these things into something that we call arrays. What do we call it? Arrays. Now, if you watch that math vocabulary video that we did, we talked about an array is a arrangement and into equal groups, right? So we started off over here where it was just 2 equal groups of 6. So we started off with groups of 6, right? Oh, I'm right up here. Then we moved on to, we could move these together and make them into either columns, or you can make them into rows, right? Now, all these can really be used in place of each other, as long as you're talking about these same type of numbers. You could either say 2 groups of 6, which is like this, kind of just anywhere. Or you could organize it into 2 columns of 6. So 1 column, 2 column. Which one was the 2 columns? Over here. So 1, 2 columns of 6. Or you could organize it or arrange it differently. You could do it into 2 rows of 6. Here we go. That's over here. 1 row, 2 row. 2 rows of 6. Does the total change? Did I add any eggs? Did I take away any eggs? No. It's still all together equaled 12 eggs. It's just the way you arrange it into a different type of an array, which another way, the word array. Now look at the word arrangement. Am I supposed to have an E in there? Hope so. Let me see. I hope I'm supposed to have that E. We'll check on that. Either way, array, look at it. Array. What's this? Arrangement. You starting to see? So, these words, it actually comes, array and arrangement come from the same term of making something in an organized way, right? And here we're putting our groups, or our columns, or our rows in an organized way. And something that we call a rectangular array. Now, the reason why it's called rectangular is because, simply, look, you can draw rectangle around them things, right? No matter which one, you could draw a rectangle around them. See it? So this is all something you were doing in Mission 6. And it is all different types of math vocabulary that we were using. So we get to going on this, and she starts saying, wait, Mama, what if we go back and add Daddy's group of 6 or Ruby's group of 6? It's like, okay, so if I add a group of 6, let's say, I'm gonna get a different color. I'm gonna add that group of 6 to this one right here. You'll see it. If I added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I now have 3 columns of 6, okay? When you add a whole nother group of 6, you're adding another unit. Just like when we add another 10, or we add a 1, or we add 100. This just so happens to be groups of 6, so you added a unit of 6. That can be another word we add up here. Let me put it in my red. I love me some red. So we could add unit. Now, The reason why I say that's so important is because we've been dealing with units of 10, units of 100, units of 1 all year long. Well, that bad boy, and this is all what's going to prepare you guys for 3rd grade. Whenever you're dealing with units that might not always be 1s, 10s, and 100s. It might be units of 3, might be units of 6, might be units of 7. And you're going to use that to multiply and to divide. And so I'm thinking of all this stuff and how all of this is related to what? Math, right? The math curse. Well, Molly comes around. And you remember, there's no math on Easter, she says. We get to pocking our eggs and we going. And Miss Joey's out. We still run. Ruby's out. We still going. It's between me and Molly. And we get to knocking our eggs. Guess who won? Molly. And she's over there dancing. I won. I'm the champion. 2 years in a row. Blah, 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 blah. And I said, well, guess what? I won too. You did not win. I said, oh, yes, I did. Remember when you said there's no math in Easter? I pulled out my pictures of all these that I took of these eggs, and then I started looking at that vocabulary video I made for you guys. I said, watch this. And she starts watching, and she sees the words columns and rows and groups of and arrays and arrangements. And she's like, oh, Mom, we were doing math the whole time. I said, there's math in Easter. There's math in Easter. I won. And then she started looking around. She's like, oh gosh, Mom, I'm seeing math everywhere. Look at our shelves with our cups. They're in rows. I said, She starts looking around. She's seeing rows and columns everywhere. She's like, oh, Mama, I see math everywhere. And I'm like, boop, you just had the math curse. It's a real life math curse. And we laughed and we giggled. And I won, ultimately, even though she popped me one. And I said, this is what our 2nd graders are doing. We're doing math. And math is everywhere. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop the video here. And then we'll start our normal Monday math challenge. But you're going to have to remember all these words. Because the math challenge that I picked, this little girl, she did one that's dealing with the word, I think it's rows, might be columns. We'll see in the video, okay? So you're really gonna have to remember these words for our video. And all throughout Mission 6, you're gonna see these words. Got it? Hope you like the story. See you later.